Welcome to Inside British Royals. This is your exclusive look inside the world's most famous family. We are exploring the scandals, secrets, and power plays that define the modern monarchy. If you are new here, please do well to hit that subscribe button for more updates. Prince Andrew has a problem. A very, very big problem. With his royal income gone and the shadow of massive, unpaid debts looming, he is reportedly facing a spiraling financial crisis. And now, the one person he might have counted on for a bailout, his own brother, King Charles, has reportedly said no to footing any more bills. So, what happens when a disgraced prince, stripped of his titles and income, finally runs out of money? The story of Prince Andrew's financial downfall is more than just a family squabble. It's a cold calculation designed to protect the very future of the British monarchy. For Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the man formerly known as His Royal Highness the Duke of York, the start of 2026 has been a brutal reality check. Royal insiders report the prince is increasingly anxious about his finances. This isn't just a fleeting worry. It's the cold, hard reality of his situation setting in. The financial safety nets that cushioned him his entire life have been systematically dismantled, leaving him in a state of unprecedented financial peril. The most significant blow came when King Charles cut off the private allowance Andrew had been receiving, a sum suggested to be as high as £1 million a year. This wasn't pocket money. These were funds from the monarch's private wealth, and they were essential for Andrew's lifestyle. That lifeline is now gone. In its place is Andrew's only declared income, a Royal Navy pension of about £20,000 a year, earned over his 22-year military career. After turning 66 in February 2026, he also became eligible for a state pension, which might add a few thousand more to his annual income. But this modest income is a drop in the ocean compared to his colossal expenses. For years, Andrew has lived in Royal Lodge, a sprawling 30-room mansion on the Windsor estate. While he secured a generous lease, the upkeep on such a property is astronomical, with reports suggesting it needs millions in repairs. On top of that, since losing his taxpayer-funded police protection, Andrew has been responsible for his own private security, a cost estimated to be as high as £3 million per year. For a man whose income is now on par with that of an average worker, these expenses are simply impossible. This is the source of his growing anxiety. The king has made it unequivocally clear. Andrew is now a private citizen, and with that status comes the expectation that he will meet his own costs. The Bank of Mum, which had propped him up for decades, is permanently closed. And the Bank of Brother has followed suit, drawing a firm and final line in the sand. To understand how a prince of the realm reached this financial cliff edge, we have to rewind. Andrew's downfall wasn't a single event, but a slow-motion catastrophe that began with his deeply troubling friendship with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. For years, questions swirled about their association, but the situation exploded into a full-blown crisis in November 2019. That was the moment of the now infamous BBC Newsnight interview. In a spectacularly misguided attempt to clear his name, Prince Andrew sat down with journalist Emily Maitlis. The interview was a public relations disaster of historic proportions. His justifications, his apparent lack of empathy for Epstein's victims, and his truly bizarre excuses, including a claim that a medical condition meant he couldn't sweat, were met with widespread disbelief and disgust. The fallout was immediate. Within days, Prince Andrew announced he was stepping back from public duties. But this was only the start. The institutions and organizations he was associated with deserted him in droves. His patronages, his military affiliations, his entire public life evaporated. The final, institutional break came from his own mother. In January 2022, as a civil lawsuit loomed, Buckingham Palace released a stunning statement. Queen Elizabeth II had stripped Prince Andrew of his military affiliations and royal patronages. He would no longer use the style His Royal Highness in any official capacity. It was a public and humiliating demotion, a clear signal that the firm was distancing itself from its most toxic member. The legal threat that prompted this was a civil sexual assault lawsuit filed in the United States by Virginia Giuffre. Giuffre alleged that she was trafficked by Epstein and forced into sexual encounters with Prince Andrew, starting when she was just 17. Andrew has consistently and vehemently denied these allegations. Rather than face a public trial, in February 2022, Andrew reached an out-of-court settlement with Giuffre. While the agreement contained no admission of liability, the financial cost was immense, reported to be around £12 million. The case was closed, but the £12 million question remained. Where did the money come from? And that's where the story of his current financial crisis truly begins. That £12 million settlement was a staggering sum for a man with a declared income of just £20,000 a year. It was immediately clear he couldn't fund it alone, and the source has fueled intense speculation ever since. The answer, it appears, lies in a complex family bailout. A significant portion of the funds reportedly came from Andrew's mother, the late Queen Elizabeth II. His primary expense remains the magnificent but ruinously expensive Royal Lodge. His peppercorn rent arrangement has drawn furious scrutiny from Parliament, which has questioned whether the taxpayer is losing out. Then there's security. After being stripped of his duties, the Home Office removed his taxpayer-funded police protection. The bill for private security, estimated at £3 million a year, fell to him, a cost previously subsidized by the Queen. With that allowance now cut by King Charles, it's unclear how he can possibly afford it. The numbers simply don't add up. King Charles' decision to turn off the financial taps wasn't just a cruel Big Brother move. It was a cold, calculated act of monarchical strategy. The final cut of Andrew's allowance was reportedly triggered by the Duke's stubborn refusal to vacate Royal Lodge. For over a year, the king had been pushing Andrew to downsize, but he resisted, clinging to the last symbol of his former status. The financial cutoff was the king's checkmate. This move is central to Charles's long-held vision of a slimmed-down monarchy. In an era of increasing public scrutiny, the king knows the royal family cannot be seen carrying members, especially one as reputationally damaging as Prince Andrew. Royal commentators have noted the palace's strategy is to reinforce Andrew's exile to shield the crown. Andrew, with his legacy of scandal and enormous lifestyle costs, is the living embodiment of everything the king is trying to move the monarchy away from. The message from the palace could not be clearer. Andrew's problems are his own. A senior palace source stated the king is adamant that public funds will not be used to fund any legal costs for Andrew. While there's speculation Charles might feel compelled to offer some private help to prevent his brother from becoming homeless, he knows the public relations disaster that would follow if he were seen funding Andrew's legal battles. This hardline stance is the final chapter in the long process of distancing that began after the 2019 Newsnight interview. The removal of his titles, the end of his public duties, and now the severing of his financial lifeline are all deliberate steps to build a firewall between Prince Andrew and the monarchy. For King Charles, the survival and credibility of the crown are paramount, even if it means financially sacrificing his own brother. So what does the future hold for Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor? His options are dwindling. He has been offered more modest accommodation on the Sandringham estate, but the move from a 30-room mansion to a smaller cottage is a humiliating step down. He has no more major assets to sell, and he cannot work. He may have to rely more on his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, whose own commercial ventures have reportedly been a source of financial strain. The legal clouds haven't fully parted, either. New probes into his past could bring fresh legal fees he simply cannot afford. Furthermore, the tragic death of Virginia Giuffre by suicide in April 2025 at the age of 41 has renewed public focus on the entire Epstein saga, ensuring the scandal that destroyed Andrew's life will never be truly forgotten. The central conflict remains. Can a man accustomed to unimaginable luxuries survive on a naval pension? Will he be forced to declare bankruptcy? The end game is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The days of unconditional royal protection, both personal and financial, are over. It's a story with huge implications for the royal family. What do you think should happen to Prince Andrew? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that matter. Prince Andrew's financial crisis is a story of personal disgrace meeting institutional strategy. He is a man adrift, cut off from the vast wealth and privilege that defined his entire existence. But this is more than a family drama. It's the story of a new king making a ruthless calculation to secure the monarchy's future. By refusing to fund his brother's lavish lifestyle and legal troubles, King Charles is sending a powerful message. The firm, under his leadership, will protect itself above all else. The era of the unaccountable prince is over.